Los Sueños de los Hombres se los fuman las mujeres is a novel that it was just published in 2009 in Colombia by a very well-known publishing house, Planeta, which is one of the most important publishing houses in the Spanish-speaking world. And it just came out this spring. When Women Smoke Mainstream, that's the title in English, tells the story about two young Colombians who came to New York in the end of 19th century. And then when they came to New York, they encounter a third character. Her name is Virginia. I wrote the story because I really did not find fiction and non-fiction books about migration of Latin Americans in the end of 19th century. And I thought that my novel will give a fresh view of some Latin American immigrants, but not like the common idea in which we have now in 2009 of Hispanic immigrants. And I wanted to tell a story about what it was for two upper-class young men to come to the U.S. in the end of 19th century. And in order to do that, I had to do a lot of research in Colombia and also in the United States. The reason I chose these two characters belonging to the upper class, one of the reasons is because in the end of 19th century, Colombia started to industrialize. And the two main places in Colombia were Medellin and another place called, another state which is called Santander, the Santanderes. That's the name of a state in Colombia. And then they became a very important places in which the industrialization of Colombia started. The ruling upper class, they needed to educate their children in other countries, and they chose the United States because they want their children to go back to Colombia and to keep ruling the country. And the U.S. was the model. They started living different adventures, which is not basically, they didn't come to study. I mean, that's what the parents thought that they would do it, but they didn't do it because their destinies were different. And that's why this novel is unusual in that regard, because as always, we portray immigrants as being poor and lower class and educated people. And I think this is the other side of Latin American immigrants. This novel is a love story. And as I said, a ménage à trois. And Virginia is a very important character. She belongs to a very rich family. And then she does not get married, and her mother wants her to get married. But of course, she wants her daughter to marry to someone to the same class. But she finds one of my characters, the Colombian characters, and they fall in love. And then they start all this relationship. I wanted to show a female character, an educated female character. At that time, women were not allowed to study medicine to become doctors. That was later on. During my research about Manhattan in the end of 19th century, I went to the New York Historical Society, and I researched about this area, and I consulted maps because I am always very interested in geography and maps. And I was amazed to see all this area in which is now BMCC and Wall Street. About this area, I found very interesting things about architecture. The title of the novel in Spanish, Los Sueños de los Hombres se los fuman las Mujeres, which in Spanish has a different connotation. And then in Colombia, when I just came back from Colombia because I went in the springtime, as a spring break to present my novel, many women told me, "Oh, this is another novel about criticizing women and about portraying women in a very bad manner." And I said, "But it's the contrary. It's completely the opposite, because I am playing with the name, but the reader will really understand and will see the catch of the novel just until the end of the story, because, as I said, it's a story about love, hate, and revenge."